The Last of Us first launched in 2013 for the PS3, quickly became Naughty Dog's pride and joy. The studio got their start making Crash Bandicoot games for the PS1 before transitioning to Jak and Daxter on the PS2 and then Uncharted on the PS3. Now, by taking their cinematic style from the Uncharted franchise and they added a deeper and more mature story, we got The Last of Us, critically acclaimed. We know that. Many calling it one of the greatest video games ever made. What if I told you we're not done yet? We have new information about The Last of Us Remake. Actually, gameplay and details have now been leaked. Welcome to Video Game Leaks, everybody. That's what we do here. We cover them all. The outlandish, the 4chan, the tinfoil hats, the almost confirmed. It doesn't matter. So make sure you ring that bell, have your notifications on, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Now, fans have waited a long time for a sequel, and while the end result wasn't exactly a unifying experience for the community, it did open the door for a remake of the original, as The Last of Us is now a franchise instead of a one-off game. A while back, news of a Last of Us 1 remake leaked, and since then we've gotten a lot of new information. According to all of our sources, The Last of Us remake is shaping up to be a pretty amazing experience. While a little unnecessary, it doesn't matter. It'll put an exciting spin on the 2013 original. Like I said, the original game launched back then, PS3. There was a remaster release for the PS4 the following year. There was also an expansion release for the original game called Left Behind that helped kind of expand upon Ellie's story and flesh out the universe a little more. So according to our sources, The Last of Us Remake is not going to be a simple graphics update. Instead, it's going to be a top-down do-over of the first game. Now, keep the story intact, update the gameplay, even add in some new story elements and alter some existing plot points and characters, try to make the experience more refined, similar to what Capcom's remake of Resident Evil 2 and 3 are, and we now know Resident Evil 4 is on the way, and it looks amazing. So the earliest reports of the game's existence came from Bloomberg, of all people, in 2021, but since then, we've gotten way more information. The project was originally being handled by PlayStation's Visual Art Service Group, but Naughty Dog apparently took over once they were done with The Last of Us Part 2. So this has been in development for quite some time. This isn't anything new. And a while back, a Naughty Dog employee updated their LinkedIn profile to mention an unannounced remake of an existing Naughty Dog IP. Come on, what else would it be? I mean, it seemed to confirm the game's existence even further. Then, Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann even stated a few months ago that the studio is working on multiple game projects, but he refused to elaborate any further. So since then, we've gotten some information as to what exactly is going to change from the original game to the remake, and some of these changes are actually going to be pretty substantial. So we'll see if people are okay with that. Some will be, some won't be. So according to all the available sources, The Last of Us Remake is being built upon The Last of Us Part 2's engine. And it's going to be pretty similar in visual fidelity, which is great. Amazing, beautiful game. Leakers have suggested the remake is not going to look much better than Last of Us Part 2, but since Part 2 already looks so incredible, I'm okay with that. Animations, character models, they will all be refined, and performance will be greatly enhanced since the game is being built for the PS5 instead of the PS4. But in terms of the art style and the realism, the remake is going to be pretty close to Last of Us Part 2. Once again, that's a thumbs up. In terms of the game's performance, it's believed the game will offer native 4K resolution at 60 frames per second or a lower resolution at 120 frames per second. Now, other features like ray tracing, 3D audio, those are likely to appear, although nothing is confirmed yet. Now, when it comes to gameplay, the remake is also going to be closer to The Last of Us Part 2 than the original, which, once again, I think is a good thing. The two games had very similar gameplay, but the sequel, I mean, it had some improvements. It did, and those are likely going to carry over. They've identified those. Some of the puzzles have also been reportedly changed. There's been some additional rope climbing sections. Naughty Dog received praise for their use of the rope in Part 2, so it makes sense that they want to bring it back and expand upon it. Now, Ellie, well, unfortunately still can't swim, but just about everything else has been tightened up to feel more modern and responsive. Now, Part 2's permadeath mode will also reportedly be included as a brand new multiplayer mode. Will feature local split screen as well. Now, the sources made it clear that the multiplayer in the remake will not be factions. It won't, not from the original. Instead, it will be a unique spin on the Horde mode from Gears of War, which I actually think will fit rather well with the Last of Us universe and gameplay. Surviving an onslaught of both human and infected enemies, I think they'll gravitate toward it, especially if the visuals are going to be on par with Part 2. Now let's talk about story details. I told you this was a massive leak. Some story details have been slightly altered to make the experience feel a little newer, while also expanding upon the universe and creating stronger ties with the sequel. The famous opening scene has been changed just a bit to make the world feel a little more realistic, and a few sequences have been added to humanize Joel, such as a section where he's driving home from work before all the chaos actually starts. Now, the controversial ending, spoiler alert, has also apparently been altered, added in some new dialogue. Joel kills all the doctors and escapes with Ellie, right? Throughout the game, you'll find that some of the characters, they've had alterations. Sam is now deaf, communicates through sign language, a skill that both Ellie and Henry have picked up, which I think that's pretty cool. It's a layer I like. It's not every day we see sign language in a video game, and I think it's cool. Other than that, most of the story and character beats will be the same as the original game, albeit with a new direction, cutscenes, and some cleaned up dialogue. Now, let's talk about the price. It's been a contentious topic, to say the least. Some details came out not too long ago that pissed off fans, and rightfully so. According to the leaks, the game is going to launch for $60, but then there's going to be a deluxe edition for $70 that includes the Left Behind DLC content. Now, aside from the fact that people aren't too enthusiastic about paying $60 for a remake, the deluxe edition, that didn't make them happy either. The gaming community isn't too excited about $70 games becoming commonplace. So a $70 remake, it's not even 10 years old. I don't know. Now, I'm hoping Sony reconsiders this pricing. Gamers are never happy about paying for DLC content twice, which is why remakes usually just include the DLC as part of the base experience, or they just omit it altogether. Now, what I'm hoping is that they drop the price tag, they ditch the deluxe edition, and it's just all together. It seems tacky. If they insist on keeping two versions, they should be $40 and $50 respectively, not $60 and $70. The Last of Us has already been released twice. I mean, come on. You can't stick it to them a third time. So, release. When's it coming out? Well, despite multiple sources claiming the game is virtually finished, Sony doesn't seem to be in any rush. Some have suggested the game is going to launch this holiday season, although I don't think I believe that. It would be great to get this holiday sales going right, but other leaks suggest a 2023 release date. Now, the original game came out in 2013, so it would look a lot more classy if Sony dropped it on the remake, or dropped the remake on the 10th anniversary. Sources have also suggested that Sony wants to release the remake closer to an upcoming HBO Last of Us series, which isn't going to premiere until next year. So the game, they say it's finished, but I don't think we're going to be getting it this year at all. Maybe we'll get a gameplay reveal or a demo later this year, maybe a way to push PS5 sales for the holidays, but I doubt we're actually going to get our hands on it until quarter of 2023 at the earliest. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe the game drops this holiday season, but don't hold your breath. It just makes more sense to hold on to it, drop it next year after the hype builds a little more and the PS5 gets a boost from holiday sales. Plus, Sony would then be able to cross-promote the remake with their HBO series. Now, a couple more leaks. Game Rant recently posted a report that Abby from Part 2 may appear in the remake, but I don't believe that one either. Now, Abby played a major part in the sequel, but she was never mentioned in the original game, and I just don't think you shoehorn her in like that. The first game is primarily about Joel and Ellie, while the second game is about Ellie and Abby. Now, cramming Abby into a remake, you're cluttering the story. Just, you don't have to do it. We'll see. Maybe an Easter egg, something like that. I'm not sure. I think it would take away from the original's tightly written story, and Naughty Dog shouldn't jeopardize that. So, The Last of Us remake will probably break the internet when it's announced, and all the leaks seem to suggest that it's going to offer a pretty fresh experience compared to the original. Now, with updated gameplay, storytelling, brand new multiplayer mode, I think this is what Naughty Dog needs to bring people back to their side after Part 2 divided the franchise as much as it did. Leaks have suggested that there is a Last of Us Part 3 in development, so a remake of the first game would be a good move to rally the community once again, get everybody hyped for the franchise, and then drop another one that breaks the internet. I'll keep you guys posted if we get anything new. Let me know if you're excited.